Say you've got 50 grand sitting in your bank account right now. Not invested, just sitting there. And you've got two choices in front of you. You could tip it into your offset account and chip away at your mortgage. Or you could throw it into ETFs and let the share market do its thing over the next 30 years. Most people think they know the answer. But here's the thing. When you actually run the numbers on both sides, the result is a lot more complicated than it first looks. And by the end of this video, the option most Australians instinctively choose might not be the one they expected. Welcome back. Today we're doing a proper head-to-head offset account versus ETFs using a real Australian example. $50,000, a standard owner-occupied home loan sitting at 6%, and an ETF return assumption of 8% per year over 30 years. We're covering the maths, the tax, the risk, the 2027 rule changes, and what actually makes sense for most everyday Australians. Let's get into it. First, let's clear up exactly how an offset works, because plenty of people have one and don't fully understand what it's doing. An offset account doesn't pay you interest. What it does is reduce the loan balance your lender uses to calculate your interest charge. So if your mortgage is $600,000 and you've got 50 grand sitting in offset, your bank treats the loan as if it's only $550,000. You're charged interest on the smaller number. At 6%, that $50,000 saves you roughly $3,000 in interest in the first year alone. And because this is your own home, not an investment property, that interest isn't tax deductible, which means avoiding it is a clean, straightforward win. You're not earning income the ATO can touch. You're just stopping money from leaving your account. That's why people call an offset account a near risk-free return. I say near because there are real costs worth knowing about. Most lenders bundle an offset into a package that charges around $395 a year in fees. Over 30 years, that's close to $12,000 in fees. Not a deal breaker, but worth factoring in. Here's the part that surprises most people. A simple back-of-the-envelope calculation might say 50 grand at 6% saves 3 grand a year, so 90,000 over 30 years. But that undersells the offset by a lot because your repayments stay the same. Less interest means more of each repayment chips away at the principal. The loan shrinks faster. The interest on the remaining balance drops. It compounds in your favour. On a $600,000 loan at 6% over 30 years, keeping $50,000 in offset the entire time could save around $202,000 in interest. And it could cut your loan term from 30 years down to roughly 25 years and 4 months. Nearly 5 years gone. That's 5 extra years of not having a mortgage hanging over your head. So before we even get to ETFs, don't dismiss the offset as just a 6% benefit. The mortgage impact is real, it's immediate, and for a lot of Australians, it's deeply satisfying. Now here's where it gets interesting, because when you look at what that same $50,000 could do in the share market over the same period, the offset starts to feel a little smaller. If you invest $50,000 into a diversified ETF, something tracking the ASX 200 or a global index, and it returns 8% per year for 30 years, basic compounding takes that balance to roughly $503,000. You've turned 50 grand into $500,000. That's the kind of number that makes people stop scrolling. And honestly, that compounding argument is hard to argue with over a long time frame. Australian and global share markets have historically rewarded patient investors. The 8% assumption isn't plucked from thin air. It's a reasonable long-run figure before fees and tax. But here's the bit people gloss over. 8% is an average, not a straight line. There will be years when your ETF drops 15, 20, maybe 30%. That 50,000 could become 38,000 before it eventually recovers. And during that dip, whether it's triggered by a rate shock, a global recession, or just the usual market chaos, you need to sit on your hands and do nothing. No panic selling, no shifting it back to the offset. Just hold. That's easy to say. It's genuinely hard to do when you're watching your savings shrink on a screen. The offset doesn't ask that of you. Your balance doesn't move based on what the RBA says or what happens on Wall Street overnight. It just quietly sits there, saving you interest every single day. There's also the access question. Money in offset is available. Need to fix the roof? Replace the car? Cover a gap between jobs? The cash is right there. No selling required, no tax event triggered, no timing risk. ETFs are technically liquid, but selling at the wrong moment, when markets are down or when you're in a higher income year, can cost you. That's why ETFs work best for money you genuinely don't need for a long time. If your buffer isn't sorted yet, the share market is not the right place for that cash. We're about to get to the tax side of this, and this is the part that changes the ETF number significantly. Stick around, because the headline balance and what you actually keep are two very different figures. With your offset, there's no taxable income created. You're saving interest, full stop. The ATO doesn't get involved. ETFs are different. Along the way, most ETFs pay distributions, dividends, income, and those are generally assessable income in the year you receive them. Then when you eventually sell, you've got a capital gain to deal with. In our example, 50,000 grows to 503,000. The capital gain is roughly $453,000. Under current rules, if you've held for more than 12 months, you're potentially eligible for the 50% CGT discount, meaning you only include half that gain in your taxable income. For someone in the top bracket, ignoring the Medicare levy, that could still mean about $100,000 in tax on the sale alone. So instead of walking away with $503,000, you might be looking at closer to $401,000 after selling tax. Still a huge result, but not the headline number. And here's something worth paying attention to. From the 1st of July 2027, the federal government has announced changes to how capital gains are taxed. The 50% discount is being replaced with inflation-based indexation, plus a minimum 30% tax rate on real capital gains. For higher income earners, the assumption that today's rules will still apply in 30 years is not a safe one. The offset doesn't have that problem. What you save today is what you keep. So what should most Australians actually do? Honestly, for most people, the answer isn't one or the other. It's both, structured sensibly. Keep 3 to 6 months of living expenses in your offset. That's your buffer, your emergency fund, your breathing room. It's working hard against your non-deductible mortgage interest every single day. Once that buffer is in place, any surplus cash above that, money you genuinely won't need for 5, 10, 20 years, that's what goes into ETFs. You don't have to choose a side. You can build long-term wealth through the share market while still improving your mortgage position at the same time. It won't be mathematically perfect in hindsight, but real financial decisions aren't made in hindsight. They're made in the middle of life with imperfect information and real competing pressures. The strategy that keeps you consistent is worth more than the strategy that looks best on a spreadsheet. Here's the honest summary. If your main concern right now is mortgage stress, cash flow, or short-term uncertainty, the offset is probably your best move. It's immediate, it's certain, and it quietly cuts years off your loan. If your buffer is sorted, your job is stable, and you've got money you genuinely won't touch for decades, ETFs give you a serious long-term wealth-building engine, even after tax. Offset versus ETFs isn't just a maths debate. It's a question about where you are in life, what keeps you up at night, and what you're actually trying to build. Get that question right, and the numbers tend to follow. If this helped make that decision a bit clearer, smash the like button. It genuinely helps the channel. And if you want more straightforward Australian money breakdowns like this one, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Cheers!